Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Lori, and as you can see by the title, I'm talking Silence Me No More Forever. Okay, I'm going to be talking about my personal journey through narcissistic abuse, scapegoat abuse. They both kind of go hand in hand. Yeah, it's my own account of my own personal journey. I'm not going to give you all of the details, but I am very adamant about if I can recover, so can you. And I'm a huge advocate for mental health and assisting people on their personal journey through my experiences. And if you are someone who is interested in mentorship and support, I do have some links in the description below. So I do offer sessions based on a donation for personal or for a mentorship and support. So I'm here if you need any guidance and like I said, I am not a licensed professional. But I can share with you some things that have helped me along my journey and guide you towards your recovery, because it is not for the faint-hearted, for sure. The recovery process was not so much now, but it was very tumultuous. There was a lot of digging. Well, not digging up. Well, there was a lot of stuff that came up. I didn't have to dig it up, but but a lot of memory of a lot of stuff, and it kind of starts in childhood and then progresses into our adulthood, where we are magnets for these people who are just flat out freaking abusive. So I am here to help you on your journey, if need be. Okay. I would like to begin with giving a shout out to the people in my life who have made my healing recovery possible. First and foremost is Promises Five Palms in Ormond Beach. They are a behavioral health, also addiction and substance rehab. And thank you. I couldn't be more thankful to those people and the 30 days that I was there. They were the kickstart of my journey, but I was also the kickstart of my journey because I had to take my recovery serious. Even though I didn't have all the dots, and some of the dots weren't connected still, but they were the ones who really assisted me with my healing journey, and it continued after I left there, obviously, because recovering from narcissistic abuse is not one of those things that you can become complacent in. So whatever you are healing from, because if you become complacent, like any other types of recovery, you are susceptible to falling back into the same patterns over and over and over again. So get yourself, if you're feeling the need to check yourself into a rehab. This particular place was absolutely amazing. The therapists were very compassionate, empathy, very supportive, and big shout out to them. The second person, and I am not sponsored by these people, but a huge shout out to Dr. Ramani Deversala. You can find her on YouTube. She is a licensed psychologist, author of It's Not You. It's not you. So, for anyone out there blaming and shaming themselves for what they had to go through, because of narcissistic abuse and scapegoat abuse as well. It's not you, it's not your fault. You didn't create this. You didn't do anything to bring this on, okay? This is all on the other person. But anyhow, she explains everything in here, soup to nuts. There's even a, where she has you journaling, doing the journal prompts. And very helpful, this book. I will not let go of this book, ever. I will always refer back to it. So anyhow, big shout out to her. Thank you so much to you for assisting me on my healing journey. I also want to mention that a shout out to Melody Beatty, who wrote the book Codependent No More. I had read that book probably 20 years ago. I had checked all the boxes in there for, you know, codependency, enabling, and as we know, I think the biggest thing about codependent enablers are they are the huge proponents of allowing bad behavior to continue over and over and over in their life, and that's something that I had to admit to myself, and that I was a codependent enabler. So anyhow, Codependent No More. When I was in Five Palms in Ormond Beach, I was asked to read again that book by one of my therapists. Took the book 100 times more serious that time than I did the first time. No big deal. You know, it was what it was. I'm not blaming or shaming myself. I don't punish myself for not taking the first time I read it seriously. But anyhow, when I read it the second time, it was game on. I was game on. I was like, I am going to get past this shit no matter what I have to do, even if it meant being in recovery for the next 10 years of my life, which I'm not, but anyhow. I was going to do whatever it takes. And you have to be willing and determined to make that conscious decision that no matter what you're going through, that you are going to pull yourself out of this. Okay. Huge shout out to Rebecca Mandeville, Rejected, Shamed, and Blamed. Now the family scapegoat or the scapegoat goes hand in hand with narcissistic abuse, because 9 times out of 10, if you have been in a narcissistic relationship or a narcissistic family system, you were probably blamed and shamed for everything, and none of it was your damn fault. Because these people bring out their flying monkeys, accuse you of things that never happened, and this has been my experience. So, but yeah, you know, and looking back, like when I think when I read that book, along with all of my healing that I have done, my recovery journey, when I read that book, which was like a few months ago, it was just kind of like, for me, it linked everything, all the way from childhood, of what I was subjected to as a child, all the way up until, you know, my adulthood. But anyhow, huge thank you, Rebecca Mandolin, for putting out such an awesome book, you know, with a lot of helpful information. Okay, those are my shout outs. Now, I'm not going into the whole dynamics of narcissistic abuse. I think that there is so much information that is out there. I do highly recommend, though, when it comes to educating yourself and learning about it, that you select people online who either A, have been there and walked that path as a victim, or B, you're getting your best education through therapist, psychologist, okay, and not just people, because it is a big topic that's just flying around out there, and you don't want to just be getting your information from anybody who just, you know, they're just mimicking what they have read in a book. No, even when I went to therapy, I specifically asked if there were people, therapists working there who have been through this sort of thing, because I know that the best therapists are going to be the people who have experienced that, and they're going to be the ones who are providing the best advice and the best care for my recovery and for yours. So that's my advice there. And like I said, I'm not going to go through the whole rap sheet of what narcissistic abuse is. If you want to find out more, go to Dr. Ramani's channel, go to Sam Vaknin. Professor Sam Vaknin, he is the person who coined the term narcissistic abuse. Rebecca Mandeville, she is the one who also coined the term scapegoat, family scapegoat abuse. But anyhow, Sam Vaknin, Professor Sam Vaknin, he is not a clinical psychologist, but he is a professor of psychology. And so in 1995, he coined the term narcissistic abuse. He is top-notch, #1 expert on narcissistic abuse. Not only that, he is a recovering narcissist. So what better to to be educated in your source of information from a person who could be vulnerable enough to say that, yeah, I'm a narcissist, and now he's a professional professor of psychology who is an expert in narcissistic personality disorder. So, yeah, I just want to share a couple of things about my experience, and these might be some signs that you want to look for. The very first thing that starts to happen is they get you to be all about them, okay? That's the grandiosity. They're looking to be inflated, to be constantly complimented. Then the next thing is they slowly start to take away your voice. I don't know what YouTube allows on here, but freaking screw that shit. I was gonna use the other word. Yeah, that's, if you are having to shut down your voice because you can't talk about the things that you want to talk about, to talk about the things that are important to you, to talk about things how you feel, to talk about things on resolving something. If you are having to be made to shut up, you are in the wrong relationship, okay? And we know, well, most of us know, there are healthy people out there who, you know, in healthy relationships, and what healthy relationships look like. This kind of behavior coming from people is not healthy. If you are having to walk around on eggshells, you are hyper vigilant because you're always waiting for the next narcissistic rage to happen, that's another sign. And I would say that those are probably the biggest signs that, you know, that you should pay attention to and not discard as, well, it's fine. You know, pay attention to that too. Pay attention to how much you are justifying this person, you know, behavior. You know, justifying or excusing their behavior, like, oh, you know, but they had a bad day. No, okay, nobody should be acting a fool in losing their shit because they are highly emotionally dysregulated people. They are bullies. They will try to intimidate you. And known fact that 50% of males and 50% of women, it's very high now, have narcissistic personality disorder. We think it's just in men who are bullies. I personally know more women who are bullies and intimidating and kind of check all the boxes. So, you know, you want to be around people who are going to be there to support you, to lift you. You want to be seen, you want to be heard, you want to be validated. And most of all, and I'm going to make this my final word, you have got to be your number one advocate, because no one is going to do this for you. And most importantly, take your freaking power back. You will never, after you walk the recovery, you will never allow someone to take your power away from you, nor will you give it away freely. And I am going to end on that note. And until we meet again, I will see you in the next video.